All right. It's Jared here from Crypto Plan, and whoa, what a ride it's been today. I guess this was the kind of moment I've been expecting, a kind of a pullback retracement, an event where Bitcoin takes a big pullback and the alts pull back heavily now. I don't think the worst of it is over, as in I think that Bitcoin has got a little bit to go, and I think if we just go back to that Bitcoin chart before I talk about cake, having your cake and eat it too, you can see that on this 4-hourly chart, we had Bitcoin dip right down there to 46, and it's gone all the way back up there, and then now it's kind of making its way down again. So I think this correction is still in play. But what we had seen was some super bargains. I think I saw Link down like 70% there at one point. You know, you could have got it. And I think if we just go there for a second even and just have a look at Link, and you know, you can see there on the Kraken there anyway, Link ducked down to $12 there for a second, you know, like, which was, it hasn't been in $12 for a long time. But anyway, I'm going to talk about Cake because Cake has just been listed on Coinspot, which is the exchange I use, and I'm hearing a little bit of buzz about Cake, panCAKE swap, and I think it's trending at the moment. So I think, hey, why not get on board? I just bought a tiny little bit of it because I'm seeing something on the chart which I saw with Hathor, and I've had someone in the comments in my last video say, can you show me a coin that hasn't broken out yet? And I guess none of the coins that I'm following that have had a previous bull run experience have not broken out. So they've all kind of broken out. So you can still get them cheap and undervalued compared to the rest of the altcoin market, but you're not going to get them before that breakout. So you can only get them on the pullback now. Whereas something like this Cake, because it's a new listing, it hasn't fully broken out yet. So I'll show you in a few simple steps what I do to figure out, I guess, how to accumulate, when to accumulate, and when to know that it's breaking out, and probably just add that last little bit to your accumulation on that confirmation of a breakout. So straight away we need to, and I'm going to go back there, we need to figure out our time frames, and you also need to get a chart that gives you as much data as possible. And I think this Binance versus US dollar calculated by TradingView, so I think it aggregates some data from from as much time as possible. Anyway, so we've got a 4-hourly chart there, so we can see some wicks. Might go try a 2-hourly chart, and you can still see, you know, it's kind of the same curve. So 4-hourly, 2-hourly, it's kind of the same, you know, we're getting this dip up and dip, right? So I'm going to stick to the 4-hourly because I like the 4-hourly, because it seems like a lot of good moves happen on the 4-hourly on crypto charts. Now I'm going to ignore this first candle because that's kind of like the initial offering of the coin. So there's a lot of buying and selling because people have had it pre-ICO and they want to dump it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to start with this wick here, and I'm going to connect to this wick. So starting that wick, we're going to connect our way down, and that's our breakout line. So for Cake to have broken out and be bullish and make that big burst to the upside, it needs to accumulate and decide, or the market needs to decide when there is more buyers than there is sellers and this price pushes to the upside. Now, how do we tell when that's going to happen? Well, we can't. We can only kind of guess, and by guessing, there's a couple of things that I look for. So this high and then a dip, and then that was a lower high, which meant it's grinding into this triangle, right? So we'll draw the other half of the triangle, which is kind of this move here. I could pull it up here and use candle bodies and kind of say that it'll grind in here, but because there's these wicks here, these become kind of real snatch and grab buying opportunities, you know. So you see we've had one here on the 20th of Feb, and we've had one today on the 22nd of Feb, where big sell volume and then big buy volume. So if you were right on the money, you could catch those. But let's say that anything around 14, you know, anywhere between $13 and $14 US is a good accumulation point. So we can't go back to the past, so we can go right now and say, yep, it's around $14, so it'd be good to make a first entry, which is what I have done. I guess if there's a small recovery, it might want to bounce up and test this line. Now, at that point, if it breaks that line, you may want to buy a little bit because it might want to continue to go. Or you might think, do you know what? I think it's going to hit that line and have one more pullback, and that's where I'll accumulate again. And then it's going to go up to the upside again. So you have to make that choice right there and then. But I guess by putting in your buy here, you're kind of sitting in the middle. So you've got an accumulation, you've got some of your tokens. So let's say you split it up, you had $500 US to put into this particular coin. Okay, so we have to decide as a buyer of a cryptocurrency, do we just want to accumulate the very lows and get the most maximum percentage gain, or do we want to just accumulate in a safe zone so that we've got enough tokens for when it does pump out, right? So if you only want to accumulate in these lows, you've got to be kind of really lucky, have stop losses, and be willing to not get your order filled. But what you can see here, and if we use this particular tool here, this triangular tool, that we've got like a little solid band of support and resistance, right? So we could just say that whenever we see the price in and around this kind of, 13 to 14, 15, $15 zone, that's a buying opportunity, right? Until it breaks out, right? So, and then what you could also say is that, so like, let's say if we did manage to capture one of these zones, or we bought 200 now, we might catch another dip, buy a little bit more, add a little bit more to lower our cost basis, and then when it does break this particular downward trend line and confirms a breakout, we might buy that last little bit just so that we add a last little bit of our bag, and then that breakout confirms. And then you might even want to have another strategy. For example, like I'll then double my investment so that when it goes up X amount, I'll sell that doubling of my investment, and then I have that original kind of investment there to ride till the very top of the boom or whatever. But that's not financial advice. There's just different strategies you can play. You can play, I just want to only buy the bottom and I want to buy a small amount and get large percentage gains, or I want to accumulate in a zone, in a range, anywhere inside this triangle, and once it breaks out, I'm going to leave it alone. But yeah, you can definitely see that there's a bit of a pattern going on there, that it's going down, it's trying to break out of that triangle zone, it's going down again, and it might try out, break out again, and then it might bounce back again, and then by the time it wedges its way into this triangle, it's got two options, right? It goes down or up, but because we're in a bull market, we're looking for it to go up and out. And knowing also a little bit of fundamentals about it, that Cake is a coin that's used on pancake swap, and it's valuable because increase in volume on their particular trading site, and there's a use case and blah 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 blah. So it's not like this particular coin is like something that's just junky and no one's ever going to use. So there's a couple of indicators there, and then I guess down the bottom we can look at volume. So you can see once again that this particular candle here, there was an increase, and I'm going to move this box, delete that box. In this particular candle here, there was an increase in volume, but the price hasn't really gone up. So then the volume's gone back down. So there was a lot of activity on this candle, but the price hasn't really moved. So once again, it's another indicator that the price is going to move to the upside. So I would suspect, depending on what happens with Bitcoin, that this next candle is the one that goes and tries to test the upper limit of that triangle, shakes the last few sellers out that are trying to get a little bit of bang for buck on their, initial coin offering or whatever it is, or, whatever reason why you would want to sell at this early stage in this coin. Might touch there, then it might come down here, spend a bit of time going sideways, and then fire on out. But that's just a complete guess based on what kind of something like Hathor did. So if we go back to the Hathor chart, You can see that on the 4 hourly, Hathor did a similar thing. It kind of had this breakout that it needed to do, kind of wedged itself into a triangle pattern, and it was kind of got listed, sold off, went up, tried to test that upper boundary for a while, sold off again, tried to test one last time, followed that curve down, hit the bottom boundary, one last buying opportunity, and then flew on out of there, right? So that's what I'm looking at, that Cake will do something along those lines, right? So only time will tell, but because we're in the depths of this bull market and there's so much volatility, that's what I see happening to something like Cake. Now, once again, not financial advice. I'm just buying it because, I've got a little bit of fiat currency on the side that I want to make it valuable, more valuable than it is, by investing in these asset classes that can fire off. So once again, like I say, investing now in this kind of zone, 13 to 15 zone, all the way along, any opportunity, anytime you feel it's right. You can see here that it's, right now it's away from its high points, so it's a good time. Hits there, you might hold off, see what happens. If it moves, add a little bit more, but it might kind of pull back. So it's really a waiting and seeing game, but there is this kind of space here that potentially it's going to play out. So don't be panicking and going, I'm going to go all in right now and it has to go out of this triangle straight away, because the potential is that it can dip down to the downside, buying opportunity, can break out to the upside, once again buying opportunity, because you want to get that last little bit of the bag before it fires off. And I guess another thing, and if we go back to the Hathor graph, another thing that I've been noticing is that you do get a little bit of a little bit of leeway there. And if we zoom right in, so this thing's coming down, kind of tapping down with wicks, and then you do get that gradual few days there where you see increase in 4 hourly bars. So it's not like there's no warning for it and it just gives you that 100% candle straight away. It's over time that this thing goes up, and then I guess even here when it's kind of wicking out, coming back, pulling back, you got a couple of days where you go, do you know what, there's a lot of action going on around there, I'm going to add a bit more, and then next thing you know, the thing's firing to the upside. But even see, once again, you got dips there, all the way along. You could be adding to your bag just to kind of really finalize and maximize that move. And then let's say if you were going to sell at the very top, you could sell half and keep the rest for the rest of the bull run. Not financial advice, but these are just things that I'm looking at and I'm playing on these kind of breakouts that I see. Whereas, some coins you might see listed on your exchange and they've already done this move, and you think about getting in here and you've already missed out on hundreds of percentage points of gains, which when it goes another 100%, that's thousands of percentage points gains. So you really like to get these things early down here when they're doing an accumulation or doing their move before the big move. So that's that. I'm going to leave that one here. That's Cake, and that's how to spot a breakout. Like and subscribe to the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.